Top 10 amazing comeback wins in the NFL. One of the NFL's favorite national pastimes is declaring game over before the final whistle. After seeing dozens of remarkable comebacks through the years, though, it's smart to be careful when making the statement. Many leads aren't safe, and we're remembering the ones that weren't. While it would be reasonable to identify the largest comebacks specifically by their point differential, we've taken some creative liberty. These are the best comebacks rather than simply the biggest, so other factors are taken into consideration. The greatest comebacks in NFL history were fueled by talent, guts, and maybe some luck. If you play sports long enough, you're going to find yourself behind on the scoreboard somewhere along the way. Sometimes you might even find yourself way behind. Today, we look at the top 10 amazing comeback wins in NFL history. Let's get it on. Number 10, Bills vs. Oilers, January 3rd, 1993. The 2020 loss to the Chiefs wasn't uncharted territory for Houston's die-hard football fans. They bore witness to the greatest comeback in NFL playoff history back in 1993, and they watched it all take place at the hands of a backup quarterback. Frank Reich was tasked with leading the Bills back to the Super Bowl after Hall of Fame passer Jim Kelly suffered a knee injury in Week 17. He fell into a 32-point hole against the Oilers and then threw his way out of it. All 4 of his touchdown passes came in the third quarter or later. His final score and third to Hall of Fame wideout Andre Reed gave the Bills a 38-35 lead that forced Houston to play catch-up late in the fourth quarter. They did, but Reich had one last scoring drive in him to cap off the game's biggest playoff comeback in overtime. Reich now serves as the head coach of the Colts, would lead the Bills to a road win in Pittsburgh the following week before handing the reins back to a healthy Kelly. Their postseason would end 2 games later in a 52-17 Super Bowl dismantling against the Cowboys. The Oilers wouldn't win another playoff game until 2000, well after they'd become the Tennessee Titans. Number 9, Colts vs. Chiefs, January 4th, 2014. Andrew Luck and Alex Smith each threw 4 touchdown passes, but it was Luck's early turnover problems that helped the Chiefs run out a 28-point lead. Dwayne Bowe was a monster for Kansas City with 8 catches for 150 yards, but he failed to escape T.Y. Hilton's shadow in the greatest performance of the Indianapolis wideout's career. He'd post career highs in both catches, 13, and receiving yards, 224, while scoring the Colts' game-winning touchdown on a 64-yard jailbreak with a little more than 4 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. Luck would ride that momentum into New England the following week and throw 4 interceptions in a 43-22 loss to the Patriots. Number 8, Patriots vs. Falcons, February 5th, 2017. The reason why 28-3 will be cursed integers in the state of Georgia until the Falcons' eventual Super Bowl 118 victory in 2073 is pretty interesting. As of 2021, the Falcons have won only a single playoff game since. On that Sunday night, the New England Patriots won Super Bowl 51, beating the Atlanta Falcons in the first overtime game in the tournament's 51-year history. The score was 34-28. At halftime, it looked like the Falcons' game. Atlanta had scored 3 touchdowns to bring the score to 21-3, but the Patriots pulled ahead in the last 2 quarters to bring the score to 28-28, where it stayed with seconds to go left in the game. When the clock ran out, the game was still tied, forcing the teams to enter the first overtime period ever clocked since the Super Bowl began in 1967. It took just 5 minutes on the overtime clock for the Patriots to score a touchdown, winning them the game under the overtime period's sudden death clause. Number 7, Chiefs vs. Texans, January 12, 2020. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong for the Chiefs in the 2020 playoff debut. Patrick Mahomes' receivers dropped passes. Kansas City special teams muffled 2 different plays that led to Houston's touchdowns. And Kenny Stills scored the easiest touchdown of his career when the home team just sort of forgot he existed. But then Texans coach Bill O'Brien opted for a field goal on 4th and 1 from the KC 13-yard line, and the football gods punished him for his cowardness. Mahomes' wide receivers suddenly remembered how to catch the ball, leading Houston to resort to holding and passing interference to stop big plays downfield. O'Brien's lead didn't even make it into the halftime. thanks in part to a bizarrely timed second-quarter fake punt that failed to fool Kansas City's previously deficient special teams unit. He went on to lose by 20 points as Mahomes finished his day with 5 passing touchdowns in a showcase worthy of a couple of cold ones. It was only the third time in NFL history a team that trailed by 20-plus points would go on to win by 20 or more, the first time ever in the playoffs. Number 6, 49ers vs. Giants, January 5th, 2003. Kerry Collins pushed New York out to a big lead in a 342-yard passing performance, but his big arm was no match for Jeff Garcia's dual-threat leadership on the other sideline. Garcia gained 4 times as many yards as his top tailback, Garrison Hurst, who topped out at 15 yards to leave the Giants' top 3 scoring defense guessing in a furious comeback. The Niners were just 1-13 after trailing in the first 3 quarters in the postseason at that point, but the veteran quarterback and his young upstart wideout Terrell Owens refused to go down without a fight. Owens caught 9 passes for 177 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 two-point conversions. However, the real hero of San Francisco's comeback may have been New York kicker Matt Bryan, who badly shanked a 42-yard field goal attempt that ultimately may have been enough to hold off the 49ers that Sunday. San Francisco turned that momentum into another huge deficit the following week. Garcia was unable to lead his team back from a 28-6 halftime disadvantage in Tampa in the divisional round. Before we move into the top 5 greatest comebacks, if you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, please do so by clicking on the subscribe button. Please give us a like, share the video, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell for timely updates of our latest uploads. Number 5, Colts vs. Patriots, January 21st, 2007. January 21st, 2007 will forever go down in infamy for not just the Indianapolis Colts, but for any fan of the NFL. That date is a date any Colts fan will remember, like a birthday, anniversary, or a life-changing moment. Many Colts fans remember precisely where they were and what they were doing on this day. This was the first ever home AFC Championship game the Colts had ever hosted. The hype around the city the week leading up to this game was bigger than any moment the city has ever seen. This was the big bad evil Patriots who had knocked the Colts out of the playoffs every year, it seemed. The weather and fact of playing in New England were always the excuses for the Colts to lose in the playoffs to New England. That year, there were no excuses anymore. If they were ever to make a trip to the Super Bowl, that was it. New England jumped out to a 21-3 lead with Patriots corner Asante Samuel intercepting a Peyton Manning pass, returning it 39 yards for a touchdown late in the second quarter. That moment you could have heard a pin drop in the once raucous dome. Peyton Manning led the Colts 80 yards on 15 plays at the end of the half to set up an Adam Vinatieri 26-yard field goal, put the Colts down 21-6 heading into the half. After a number of plays, the Patriots scored next to take a 28-21 lead. Colts on their next possession drove down the field, but running back Dominic Rhodes fumbled the ball in the end zone. By a miracle, Colts center Jeff Saturday recovered the ball for a touchdown to tie the game at 28. Teams then traded field goals until Patriots kicker Stefan Gostkowski hit a 43-yard field goal to give the Patriots a 34-31 lead with only 3 minutes 49 seconds left. The Colts and Patriots then traded punts, with the Colts getting the ball back with just over 2 minutes left. The Colts were led on a magical drive with Joseph Adai scoring a 3-yard touchdown run, giving the Colts a 38-34 lead with only a minute left in this classic game. Marlon Jackson then intercepted Tom Brady with 17 seconds left and all mayhem broke loose. This was the greatest comeback in NFL Conference Championship game history and the 4th largest comeback in NFL postseason history. Number 4, Titans vs. Chiefs, January 6, 2018. Leading 21-3 at halftime at home against a seemingly overmatched Titans team, the Chiefs could do absolutely nothing in the second half and found a way to lose, 22-21. It was a terrible collapse that left a bad taste in the mouths of everyone in Kansas City all offseason, leading to all kinds of questions about where the Chiefs were to go from there, including questions about whether it was time to let Alex Smith go and turn to Patrick Mahomes. It was also a collapse that saw the Chiefs' hearts broken when an apparent game-winning defensive touchdown by linebacker Derek Johnson, a final minutes was overturned. A replay review correctly showed that Titans running back Derrick Henry was down. Game to remember. Number 3, 49ers vs. Saints, January 7th, 1980. The Saints were winning 35-7 at halftime. Game over, right? Wrong. Quarterback named Joe Montana, just his second NFL season, led the 49ers to the greatest comeback in NFL regular season history. Montana scored on a 1-yard run and completed a 71-yard touchdown pass and a 14-yard touchdown pass to kickstart the comeback. San Francisco tied the game on a rushing TD by Lenville Elliott before winning on a field goal in overtime. During 16 NFL seasons, Montana would lead his team to 31 fourth-quarter comebacks. Number 2, Bills vs. Colts, September 21st, 1997. This time, Buffalo didn't wait until the second half to begin its comeback. After falling behind 26-0 in the second quarter, the Bills scored 10 points before halftime to seize some of the momentum. The second half was crazy. Quarterback Todd Collins threw 2 touchdown passes, and running back Antoine Smith ran for 2 touchdowns to give Buffalo a 37-29 lead. But Indianapolis didn't quit. The Colts scored a touchdown with 14 seconds left in the game, but they failed to convert a 2-point conversion that would have tied it up. Still, the game wasn't over. Colts recovered on an onside kick, only to have 2 long desperation passes fall incomplete. Number 1, Browns vs. Titans, October 5th, 2014. Tennessee jumped out to be a 28-3 lead, thanks in part to 2 touchdown passes from Charlie Whitehurst, who entered the game when the starting QB left with an injury. Cleveland scored its first touchdown with 12 seconds left in the first half and then dominated the second half. The Browns scored on a field goal, a blocked punt that went out of the back of the end zone for safety, and 2 touchdown passes from Brian Hoyer. The last score was a 6-yard pass to receiver Travis Benjamin that gave the Browns the lead for good, with 1 minute, 9 seconds left in the game. There you go. Thank you for watching our video on the top 10 amazing wins in NFL. If you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more of our unique sporty content. Please give us a like, share the video, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell for timely updates of our latest uploads. We value your feedback. Feel free to share your thoughts with us in the comments section below.